Yeah, why we're doing public comment is because the last meeting that we decided not to have was public comment. And you got to have four, so we had to add public comment to this one.
All right, everybody got the recording? All right, let's start
Yes.
back over. Thank you, everybody, for all you do. I appreciate it. Today, we are voting on our final budget. None of this is a surprise. We put months and months of work into this, and I shared it with you earlier. So let's go ahead and get started. And again, thanks for staying online with me for a little bit longer. We started all the way down here. This was back in early mid-January. We've taken every single step from learning about our budget to setting our strategic priorities to getting your feedback to going back to the drawing board, getting your feedback again, and finally coming to a budget where we can all agree on that's going to 100% support our students and our staff. Okay? We have to approve this budget. Tomorrow is the deadline. Here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to let you read it, but we will need to take action. I'll present, and then we'll finalize. Okay, let's just review budget by function. How much money FTEs are people? Another way of saying people. Okay, where that money is going, how much the budget is, what our per pupil expenditure is, which has gone up a good amount next year, maybe about 5,000. Our projected enrollment, which is not that high, actually 5 less than we were projected for this year. I'm confident we're going to get this number and then earn our reserve. This is just another little way of looking at it as a pie chart. We really
And
want
Jay,
to see,
that 888 doesn't include pre-K and the autism centers, right?
it does include autism. It does not
It
include,
does?
yes, and it
Okay.
does not include pre-K. Kim, when we first got our autism units, we actually didn't think they included, so we didn't include them in anything, and we were excited to get like 25 extra students and the money that came with it. So yes, they do count for our school now.
Okay, this is more selfish
No,
reasons
that's a
for
good
school.
call. No, that's a good
Or
point.
school
There's no pre-K.
supplies.
Yeah, gotcha. There's no pre-K in here though.
Okay.
If we were to look at an exact amount, it would be that like, what is that? 8, 12, 9, 12 with pre-K. All right, I want to just walk through this again. Just kind of showing you down here. This is how much money I put in materials and supplies, security grant, 15-day reserve head count. So let's start from up here. This was my plus budget. Got a 3rd grade teacher. This is how much a teacher costs now. Remember, a couple of years ago, wasn't that much, but we voted on 11% raises. One of the reasons why we're in a $100 million deficit. But these teachers deserve 50% raises, so I agree with it. Remaining balance is here. Hired another teacher, remaining balance here. Hired an SST intervention specialist, a little bit more than a teacher. New balance here. Hired that para we talked about, save one of our other paras, that type of thing. A little bit less, new balance here. Abolished our 202 school clerk, gave her 9 more days to a 211 right here. That's how much it costs for a 211 school clerk. New balance is here. Okay. Hired a school counselor, a little bit more money, new balance here. And then that's the balance of one more teacher, which was our gifted teacher, which brings us down to that 0. Okay. 44,000 in materials and supplies is not going to be enough to get us through the year. We need to make sure we hit our numbers, and we're going to use that 193 reserve to help some of that. Got our 45 security grant, and here's that reserve that we'll get August 15th. Oh. Before we vote, do you have any questions? Chris?
No questions.
They are following normal industry.
All right, I'm going to hand it over to you, Ashley, okay?
Okay, thank you, Principal Bland, for sharing this information. I am now going to entertain a motion to approve the budget. Can I have a motion?
I motion to approve the budget.
Thank you, Ina. Can I have a second to approve our budget?
I second that motion.
Thank you, Ms. Moses. All in favor of approving our Morris Brandon agenda for the next school year, please say aye or raise your hand.
And just make sure we're
Aye.
approving the budget for next year. Approving the
Aye.
budget.
Try and make that happen.
You said agenda, just making sure we know we're approving the budget for next school year.
Budget for next school year, yes.
Thank you. Oh,
Unmuted. Okay. All right. All opposed, please say nay or raise your hand. Any abstentions? Okay, I believe the budget is approved.
all right.
Good job, team.
Good
I
work.
always turned my camera off for the budget vote. Started doing that 7 years ago. Things got hairy during the pandemic. Let the market-
That's a good strategy you've learned.
Yeah.
Principle, bland.
Yeah. Well, listen, great job, y'all. This is a great budget season, and our community needs to be very happy with the money we have and the supports that were coming and the decisions that our Go Team made. So make sure that everybody here talks about all these great positions and staffing and class sizes that we're going to have next year. Because when I get in front of these kindergarten parents that are coming in droves to visit our school, I always speak about our class sizes and supports as well. So thank you for that.
Hey, Jay, with the additional counselor, is that gonna help our specials?
Yeah, all of it will.
Right.
Counselor will allow us now to have a counselor in that specials rotation. We're going to have 8 homerooms in 3rd grade now. So remember, they're rolling up. So now we have 8 in K1 and 2. But now 3rd grade, that additional counselor will allow us to have 1 at Maine, 1 at PC, take that extra group of kids. That additional gifted teacher can also help run an innovation lab or a special on that double specials day where we need somebody. So yes, all of that will help. Absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah, great. I don't have much of our principal's report. I will tell you this, and I want to say this, that our school rating came out, which is awesome. And I just wanted to kind of give that shout out. GOSA gave everybody a score out of nowhere. We did not think this was going to happen. And I do encourage you to look now on the CCRPI website to compare our score against all of our like schools as well and schools that are around our cluster. We did so well last year that there's some more good news that's coming out. I can't share it yet because it's still embargoed, but it does have to do with good news for our school in our North Cluster. And we'll be looking forward to sharing that hopefully next week when the state lifts that embargo. But it's a good list that we're on for that one as well, and I'm excited to share that. Okay. What I'll do,
So happy you brought that up at the orientation this morning.
yeah, I threw that in there. I was like, look it up, and I was like,
that was good.
that's the only thing that really families need to look at is that CCRPI. You know, we know
And
this.
not the great schools score,
Yeah,
which I
yeah.
emailed them like 12 times now.
Saw that. I love that. Keep it going. But this really is what drives the problem. I mean, this is what this is what's going to drive it right here. This is the state of Georgia, and it's a level playing field with all public schools in Georgia. So that's awesome. So that's all I have, and I want to hand it over now to went to cluster advisory. Is that Lena? No,
Yes, it is
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Lena, you want to give us your update?
Sure. I mean, the last meeting, the superintendent came to the meeting and did a quick update, mostly budgeting. So most of the questions, honestly, were
I'll say
around the budget.
supposed to be quick. Supposed to be quick. But when you get the superintendent online, all the parents started finding out, and all of a sudden that 5 minutes of him giving an update turned into about 35 to 40 minutes of him answering questions on Zoom. So
Yeah, there were a lot of questions and a lot of questions around the budget. The takeaway that I had is just that we're in a really good spot when it comes to our budget. I think middle schools and high schools just aren't, in the same boat. So I think the discussion was really kind of geared towards like budgets with middle school and high school, at least the questions were. And then I had to jump off when we broke into our actual like North Atlanta cluster. But I was just in the general meeting. Jay, I don't know if you were able to stay.
yeah, I was able to do some of the breakout sessions where we had some questions that we needed to answer. They wanted feedback. They wanted to hear our feedback around a variety of different things. I was in a group with just a couple parents, and I ended up thinking we just talked about the budget and kind of our schools in general. But the big thing was that Dr. Johnson was on. It was supposed to be kind of quick. And I would say that, feedback for that would be, probably a little more structured, because I think he just kind of came on, was hoping to talk, but I literally was seeing parents jump on because I feel like they were texting each other. Hey, Dr. Johnson's on, let's ask him questions. And then it turned very much into like venting or putting stuff into the chat and trying to get him to answer. And it just kind of went on and on. I will say, at one point, people were really worried about the budget and complaining. And he stopped and says, hey, he was like, not everybody's in a bad budget. Where are my elementary school principals at? And he was looking at me and looking at the other principals, and we were able to come off mute or put in the chat, like, thank you, we are in a very good place. And I think a lot of the people that were on that call were not aware that there were schools that were in, okay budget scenarios. But let's not forget why we're in a good budget scenario, because traditionally in the past 6 or 7 years, we've been underfunded. We haven't gotten funding for fourth and fifth grade students, or our gifted funding was low, or our kindergarten funding was low, that formula. So that, we're kind of getting what we hopefully is rightfully ours and we earn and we, for our schools. So, but he definitely made that clear that there are some schools that are in great situations and great places.
Yeah, and the other thing that there was a lot of questions too around facilities, and they did share some PowerPoints and some information just around like facilities, which it seems like that they're probably, it looks like they're in some sort of process right now of figuring out if they need to make any decisions as far as like certain schools and whether or not they need to consolidate or whatnot, or I guess what decisions they're going to make with some buildings. And I looked through a lot of that the stuff that they sent and just was curious. I think I reached out to you and asked specific questions about facilities because I know our main campus is showing in that they had them color coded.
That
It
purple.
looks like purple, where like because I guess we're not like we're lower
We're in a
capacity.
unique place because
Yeah.
we have two buildings and one of them is at capacity and one of them is not, but we don't have a small enough school to put them into both buildings. You know what I mean? So we're not really on the radar quite yet. And I will tell you that we have a meeting that was put on our calendar for early May for principals to really talk about facilities planning. And I think they're going to make some announcements in that meeting for kind of what we need to prepare for next year and then absolutely the year after. Probably school mergers and closings, maybe things like that. I'm not quite sure. But again, Brandon is not on my radar for anything. We have one building that is underutilized, and that is our main campus. But we also have 160 third graders rolling up, and we know what's behind them. And I'm confident that, we have to remember that after the pandemic, I have 160 kids per grade level. Let's start getting them up to third, fourth, and fifth, and then we can evaluate where we are in 3 years. But then also we're in that unique place that I don't have a big enough building to put both campuses just into one. And we also, and North Atlanta is unique that we can't take a bunch more new students from other clusters because we know where Sutton is capacity wise and we know where North Atlanta is capacity wise. So the North Atlanta is kind of its own little interesting area, and same with Midtown too, I'm sure, because they're already at capacity and they just did their renovations. So they're definitely looking at those other clusters and smaller schools and looking at how they can conserve their money that way first, I think.
Is there a minimum number of students enrolled that they have?
That's a good question. I've not seen a minimum, but I think they're targeting. I've heard the target schools right now are 350. They're looking at 350 and below.
I read an article that Fulton, it was 450.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I heard 350 in APS, but I haven't seen that in writing anywhere. But I do know there's schools with less than 350 kids.
Yeah. I just, when they closed those two schools in Fulton County.
Yes. I saw that. They were not happy, those parents. And, that's kind of the conversation they're going to have in Atlanta as well.
For sure.
Never easy.
I just didn't know if there was like a hard and fast rule.
Yeah, I think it has to do with declining enrollment. So they're also looking at those trends. So if you may be at 375, but were you at 600 5 years ago? Where are you headed? Where are the birth rates in your area? Where's another closer school that we can merge you? Like they're just looking at those different things. So a lot more to come on that. And I do think that we'll get a lot of information over these next couple months because I know May is the principal meeting around that. And you can look at board docs as well when they come around to our board meetings. Okay. That's kind of all we have. I want to open it up to anybody else who's on a committee or wants to share anything on here that's for the good of the group, for committees, for anybody who helps to serve Brandon or any announcements. We can flow into that and then we can open it up to our public comment.
We had a great IB informational night on Tuesday. Ina and Tiffany and I were there and just reiterated just how awesome the IB program is and the opportunity at North Atlanta. We'd love to be able to share some of the information and statistics, Jay, down to like the elementary level, because we really feel like a lot of the elementary parents are missing out on, what that opportunity looks like in, junior, senior year with the DPCP. So we're happy to send the presentation over, maybe kind of summarize it, but
I would love
the
to see.
Sutton,
I would love
yeah,
to see
the
it.
Sutton IB director was there. He's awesome. He's brand new to Sutton, Mr. Flater. And then most of the other, IB reps from the other schools, and we had a Zoom as well. So it's really just an awesome program. Really impressed by it.
Yeah, that is great. And I will say that if it's recorded, is it posted or recorded?
It's a really large file, so they're having to it takes a while to upload. So the Garden Hills IB coordinator was going to send it to us. So once we have it, I'll send it over to you.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I want to look at it. And then just so everybody knows, the PYP is our primary years program. That's IB. We are getting evaluated next Thursday and Friday. 10 years since they've been in our building, 5 years since the pandemic when it was virtual, but these teachers have been working their tails off, getting their classrooms ready, their bulletin boards, instruction. Our students have been ready, our parents have been ready, our admin are ready. So all that's coming. But the PYP ends at the end of 5th grade, and we'll culminate it with our exhibition for our 5th graders. That's coming up kind of right after the milestones. And then after that, you move into the MYP. That's the middle years program. MYP is 6th, 7th, 8th, 9, and 10. So it's 5 years of your MYP program too. At the end of MYP, that can be the end of your IB journey. You can begin to take other courses. You can go the AP route, or you can stay and do the diploma program, and that's that 11th and 12th grade. And those are like AP courses as well, college credits, things like that. So just kind of knowing that flow and knowing what they do at North Atlanta it's really what makes North Atlanta great. I know that one of the reasons. So if we can get that, I would love to review it and look at it too.
Yeah, I will definitely send it. We also have a Stellar Seniors event, March 24th. That is an event where they choose a bunch of seniors from all cross sections at North Atlanta.
They're doing that differently this year, though, aren't they? What was the date? I just want to make sure I have that.
It
They're
is
doing
March.
it's North Atlanta PTA meeting, and then they're doing the senior stellars at the same time.
Yeah, because it used to be in the middle of the day, and I would go over there at like noon, and they did a lunch, and they did it that way. And I like this way might be better because it was never like they had a microphone and they passed it around. It wasn't always good. So.
They were looking to make it a little bit more well attended. So
what's the date? Just run me that.
It's March 24th.
And it's at
North Atlanta.
And it's I got it, 5 o'clock.
From 5 to 7 in the auditorium.
So it's an event this year. I like it. Okay.
Yes.
And I think is it on Zoom too, Ashley? Can't remember. Last year it was.
Probably. It should be.
I will say these seniors, I went to it last year. They're so freaking impressive. I'm like, you've done more with your life than I have.
I know. So like, where are you going next year? Harvard? It's like, what'd you do at North Atlanta? And they name like 500 different things and all incredible schools. Like, they pick 15 kids that are all going to awesome schools. It's very cool. All diverse. I mean, everybody is different.
Yeah.
Very.
From every kind of, any other announcements? Those are what I had from NAPS.
Jordan, really quickly, what do we got at Brandon coming up?
We've got the art show April 2nd, so 3 weeks away. It's going to be a Wednesday, 5 to 7 p.m. So a lot going on in the art department at Morris Brandon leading up until the day of. We're collecting art, framing it, mounting it. We have so many PTO volunteers this year, so thankful. And it's going to be really great. We're going to have like Valeria at the main campus, she's going to have some live painters. Jay got us some easels. Thank you, Jay. So that's going to be really cool. Some of the kids doing that. We're going to have like this moving pictures parade. Some of the kids will wear like, it'll look like they're like the Mona Lisa, and they'll walk around and talk to the parents about that. And actually a few of the ceramic seniors from North Atlanta, they're going to have a booth because they did a collab with kindergarten where they turned some of their drawings into sculptures. So they'll be there. So we got a lot going on this year. So I'm excited.
Love it.
That sounds awesome.
We've only had one night of the art since I've been a principal. So this is good because we had a couple of years we couldn't do it. I also have to just give one quick more announcement about the World Cultures Night. We are so excited about this. It is May 1st. We have over 30 families presenting their cultures of where they're from, their backgrounds, their language with their kids in the PC classrooms. Students will get passports. They'll be able to go to each room. We'll have a performance in the gym, a professional performance, and then some food in the cafeteria. And it's kind of a rolling event. So sign up for that when you see it, because I know they're working hard on it.
And then our next meeting, our next Go Team meeting, I think is April 17th.
Perfect.
And that'll be the last meeting, right, Jay?
Yep, that looks like Go Team meeting number 10. You only have to have 8 too, so we did a good job with that. I know we didn't have one of them in there, so 9 is good. So we don't have to meet again after that, unless you want to.
I did stick the Stellar Seniors flyer in the chat if anybody needed the information.
Thanks, Ina.
All right, Ashley, if you want to, we can open the floor up to some public comment.
Yeah, sounds great. So if one is on and would like to make a public comment, you're welcome to come on and have a couple minutes. 2 minutes, I believe, is the time to make a comment.
Yep, I'm just looking on here to see if anybody wants to come off. Give it a second. Give it about 30 seconds, y'all.
Going once, going twice. Anyone want to make a public comment?
Okay. Well, then that's great, and that's fine as well. People know how to find me. I do want to just say one more thing. This is a slide on here now. We're still looking for some declarations. We are good at Brandon. I will tell you this, every week we get a list from the North Atlanta clusters from the Go Team office that talks about schools that don't have enough candidates. And like, we were the only one in green from the very beginning, because we had teachers, and the hardest was getting teachers. Getting teachers. Love our teachers. Thank you, Lena, Moses, Jordan, all y'all for being on here, because it is a late day. I get it. The hardest is getting teachers, and it was hard. So we've always had interest in Go Team. So thank you for doing that. We're actually good on this. And I just want to say thank you again. I put our score up there, share that with the world. And the last thing that Go Team wanted us to do was make sure that we posted our feedback presentation after this. I just want you to know that if you want to go back and look at the feedback meeting, everything is on here. It'll be posted online, so you can go back after the approval and see all of the rationale, the parameters, the signature program, the funds, and everything else that we did that got us to where we are now. That's all attached to this current presentation. Okay? All right, Ashley, I'll hand it to you and we can close it out.
I think we've reached the end of our agenda. So I believe no additional business. And in that case, I will ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll motion.
Thank you, Lena. A second?
Second.
Thanks, Ashley. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
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 All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Please identify yourself. All right, our meeting is adjourned at 4:01 p.m.
Bye, y'all. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you.
guys.
Aye.
Bye-bye.